Lou B, fresh off of hosting Gangrene Beach Club, is thinking playoffs. Playoffs. We're going to the playoffs. Wild card. Lou, I love the optimism. I love it. I just don't see it, but I'll play this for you anyway. Go Jets! Go Jets! You missed out on this past weekend, Mr. Joe Blewett.
No comment. I got the no comment on that one. But nice.
Go Jets! Go Jets! And one more comment. Yeah.
Now, my question is, who's the guy in the blue shirt in the background holding one of those females on his shoulders?
Let me break down the film here as you would do. Hold on. You know what? I have no idea who that guy is.
Was he randomly assigned? Like, was he just like, yes, like I will definitely take on this role? Or like, was he like a worker or something like that? Or did he just get a, something on the back of his head that he was really enjoying?
Well, I checked his shirt there, and he wasn't wearing an HQ2 shirt, so I don't know. Okay. Apparently, he works there. Lou says he works there.
Okay, yeah, about to say, because if that was just like a random fan, I could see them taking some liberties, So I was curious of who that was or what lucky Asmaniac, if you roll that way, was in that situation. So I'm hoping for it too. It's just realistically, again, and we've been burned so many times in the past. And this is just my way of thinking. I'm going to hope for the best, expect the worst. There's been some interesting questions like floating out there on Twitter, like, would you rather the Jets win 8 games or 4 games? It's an interesting dilemma. Obviously, it depends on those 8 games, right? Is it an Adam Gase 8, but really his 7 games where it's all a bunch of comebacks, bad teams, backup quarterbacks, or is it 8 games you're actually beating legitimately good teams? You're competing with good teams. You're handling the bad teams. So obviously there's context to it. But yeah, as a fan, I want them to dominate before anything. But the thing that's sketchy about it is like, then we're going to be talking about next offseason. Is it a one-off? Like, we're going to be talking about that, right? Because of how bad 2024 was or 2025 was. If he has a good year in 2026, we're still going to be mentioning 2025, right? Because we can't just assume that he's going to be great in 27 if his 26 is good, if that makes sense. Like, we have to take in that's still a short sample size of good, and you're still putting a lot of faith in him. So you better be damn confident that he's the guy, because you're never going to be as attractive as you are next year with all the picks, with all the cap space. You can have one of the top flight head coaches come here next year. So if Aaron Glenn is kind of teetering on, okay, is he good? Is he bad? To me, at that point, you still get rid of him and you hire a Kevin O'Connell, Mike Tomlin, whatever new hot offensive coordinator we're going to be talking about. So he has to really he has to prove it beyond a shadow of doubt this year. It's not just a thing where I'm like, okay, I can't be teeter-tottering with all the, capital the Jets have.
I completely agree. Either prove you could coach or get out. That's how I look at it. Like, if I'm on the fence, I would move on. I would let Muji pick a coach, and I would give someone else a chance with 3 first-round picks and $100 million in cap space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll see what happens with Kevin O'Connell and a bunch of these guys. I can't be lukewarm on him in this situation, because then, again, obviously worst case scenario, he drafts the quarterback, he invests all the cap space. Then that cap space invested doesn't fit the new offense. The new defense is coming in. He ruins the quarterback. The quarterback has to learn a new system. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but I want him to either really suck or really dominate. I don't want to be anywhere in the middle with Aaron Glenn this year, because at that point I'd still lean towards firing him. But is Woody Johnson going to do that? He hired him. It's the first coach he's hired in almost a decade or whatever it's been. Maybe not almost a decade, more like 5 or 6 years, whatever it's been. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
You're right. It's a decade.
So
Douglas hired Saleh, right? Christopher Johnson oversaw that.
Gase.
And Gase was Christopher Johnson as well. So
yeah, decade.
Bowles and McHagnon, the last time Woody hired a coach.
So 2014, 2015 offseason. Yeah. So yeah, a decade. I forgot about the Gase thing. Yeah. So does he want to, and listen, a 5-year contract for him for a coach is like a drop in the bucket. If you had to pay him 3 years that he wasn't here, it shouldn't really matter a lot. But does Woody Johnson care about money, or does he care about fans? It seems like he cares about winning enough where he invests his money at the minimum. It's not like we're like the Marlins or anything like that, where it's not investing any money. But the way he treats his fans sometimes is abysmal. So I don't know. Hopefully he does right by the fans, and if he's not proving out, then he gets fired. He just pays him that 3 years he owes him.
All right, Asmaniacs, listen up for a second. No matter what you're watching, whether it's New York sports or any game you didn't plan on caring about, there's no better way to stay locked in than with PrizePicks. It's daily fantasy made simple. You're just picking more or less on player projections. That's it. No complicated lineups, no nonsense. Just you versus the numbers. And here's why I love it. Even if it's a game you normally wouldn't care about, once you got a lineup going, you're locked in. Every play matters, every drive matters, every at-bat matters. I've been mixing sports too. Maybe a little football, throw in some baseball, maybe some basketball, and now you've got action across the board all night, and PrizePicks makes it even better with features like early cash outs if your picks are hitting, the ability to mix multiple sports in one lineup, and you can even see what other people are playing and tail their picks. So if you haven't tried it yet, what are you doing? Download the PrizePicks app right now. Use code HMA. That's HMA, and you'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, it's HMA on PrizePicks. PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. It was a super chat earlier. I meant to hit this from Devin. Thanks, Devin, for being a channel member. If the O-line has a few injuries, what then? Look, every team could be screwed if their O-line suffers injuries. The Jets last year were really healthy besides losing AVT. I guess Max Mitchell, get ready to play. And as Cooper, can you show us something? I mean, the depth on the O-line, I am definitely concerned about it if there's a couple injuries.
Yeah, I can take this from like two lights. Like I think generally if one of your stars goes down on any offensive line, you're really going to struggle. So maybe we overrate some of the depth around the league. But with that still being said, I am concerned. I'm still concerned with the depth. And again, this is something we've been hitting on forever, or at least I've been hitting on forever, past kicker, and really even more important, the kicker. I just don't understand Myers walking in as the shoe-in center this year. So maybe they're waiting for cuts. Maybe they're doing something like that. But yeah, the depth is concerning. Max Mitchell isn't really a proven backup. He's okay as like maybe your 8th, 9th, 10th guy, but as like the primary backup left tackle, not a big fan of that. Jonathan Harrison as your primary backup interior offensive lineman. Or Xavier Newman. I would say Jonathan Harrison. Xavier Newman as your primary backup interior offensive lineman, a little bit sketchy. And then Chukwuefor, it's Chukwuefor Okafor, whatever the hell his name is, we got from the Steelers as your backup right tackle. He was actually pretty solid when he was with the Steelers. Like I went back and watched that film and did a breakdown of it because I'm a psychopath. I actually liked him as a backup right tackle. But the year past the Steelers year, he came in with the Pats, played one or two games, went AWOL, and that Pats game, he was horrific. So he hasn't played in really 2 years. So what is he? So yeah, it's a huge concern if somebody goes down. So that's why I'm saying like, hey, again, I don't know who's out there off the top of my head, like Pochik or Zeitler or whoever, maybe a guy you can swing for a 7th round pick, just like we did on the interior of the defensive line last year. Can we do that with interior offensive line this year? They should bring in at least a legitimate interior backup offensive lineman, or if not a guy to just straight up usurp a guy like Myers, or at least compete. I don't like the depth specifically on the interior. And as Cooper's a 6th round pick, I know we want to gas him up in highlights and big hits and stuff, but he's a 6th round pick. If he comes in, it's probably going to be an issue this year. I'm not saying that's always the case, but if you had to bet your life on a 6th round pick doing well, I don't think you would.
Question: is Pond/right cornerback combo an attempt to repeat the Revis Cromartie corner combo? I mean, I see what you're saying as far as body types, but I think it's an attempt to try and solve the secondary problem. I think that's really what it comes down to. Ponds, I think, is going to be a good player. Deshaun Wright, I'm not as bullish on, especially after we did the film review with Joe Blewett last week on him. I do think that D'Angelo Ponds will start. Azareye'h Thomas will start, and Brandon Stevens will start. I think Ponds will start in the slot. Let's get to more of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a guy on the line that we call Champ.
He's always cooking or coaching or flashing his green. This man is cooking or kicking as maniac. He's at the tailgate, he's cooking, blowtorching his food. A diehard Jets legend, the chef they call Kevin. Chef Kevin.
Yo, Jake, Omari, how y'all doing, fellas?
Chef.
Morning, Chef.
Yo, Omari, man, yo, such a pleasure meeting you, man. Your football knowledge, dude. Yo, it's truly great hearing your stuff, your breakdowns and all that. And then just, talking about other stuff, man. The Knicks too. You knowledgeable with them Knickerbockers, man. So, salute, appreciate everything that you do, man. I really had a call, man, just because, behind the scenes working on, August 1st event, with Jake, we're almost there. We're, 10:20 right now. These tickets are about to go on sale, man. So, I'm really trying to lock in and get this done. Chef Brian, I gotta say that, Chef Brian, where are you, man? You're not calling in. We're supposed to, get this chef off going. You can't say you're busy, man. It's July, August. This is the time when, the stuff goes down a little bit. People are on vacations, pool parties, beaches, and all. It's the restaurant industry in this area, North Jersey, it goes down a little bit. We still busy, but Brian, you got to get on the horn, man. I'm calling you out again. Brian, man, don't flake and not show up, man. It's gonna be a disservice to the community. I'm telling you, man. You're gonna piss me off, man. I'm doing a lot of this hard work and stuff, man, behind the scenes. I'm giving you the fair one. There's a blind tasting too, man. I'm doing everything to help you out. I need you to call in. It's bothering me, Jake. I'm telling you. It's bothering me.
It's well said.
Omari, man, I heard you with Richie Stickers. Good stuff, man. You're a positive dude with the Jets takes. It's just crazy how you have 2 more wins than I do. You're at 7 wins with all the positivity, man. And the Aaron Glenn stuff, man. I'm not seeing. I don't know how we're gonna what we saw last year and then all of a sudden this year without anything in between be like, you know what? From 3 wins to 7 wins, and we had our back and forth about the tanking and all that last year, and I get it, man. It's just how they were tanking and what they were doing, and AG firing Wilkes, blaming all that on the Wilkes defense, and then getting that Steve dude, the cornerbacks dude up to run the same Wilkes defense. The decision making, man. That's what's worrisome to me. How are you at 7 wins, man?
So I'm at 7 wins because I think that if you can start off out the gate faster, and I think that they've added a lot of talent. I think they've added a lot of talent. Now, again, we're going to be depending on guys that haven't proven anything in the NFL yet, but you also have guys that are professionals at what they do. And I'm just going to talk about from a defensive standpoint. Demario Davis, we already know his resume and what he's able to do. At age age 37, he's still a top 100 player against the run. Now, I think that David Onyemata and Minkah Fitzpatrick are force multipliers. So a force multiplier, what do I mean by that? By bringing in Demario Davis and removing green dot responsibilities from Jamie and Sherwood, you now allow Jamie and Sherwood to play a little bit faster. So bringing in Davis increases 2 spots defensively, and that increases your communication. And what do we know, guys and chat? When the communication is there, you can now play faster because you're not looking around and you're not reacting. We saw that Jacksonville game when we had linebackers running into each other on play action. So I think the linebacking core is going to be better. Now, the middle of the defense from defensive line standpoint, I don't think Tavondre Sweat is going to come in and be Chris Jenkins of 09 or 08, but I do think that it's going to be incredibly tough to run the ball against Tavondre Sweat, Harrison Phillips, and David Onyemata. David Onyemata is a top 15 run defender in the league. And he's done this for his entire career. So he's going to come right in. Did we lose Chef? So he's going to come. Yeah, he's going to come right in. And there's not going to be any developmental time. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a former All-Pro. So he can play close to the line. He can play free safety. And what is that going to allow people to do? You're going to be able to play faster because Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to make sure to check into whatever the defense needs to be into. Right? He's going to be able to communicate and say, hey, listen, they're coming out in a 2x2 look. This is usually what they get. Instead of Malachi Moore not knowing that he needs to get to the curl or the flat, Minkah Fitzpatrick is going to go straight there. So I think the defense is going to be faster because they're going to have less because they were able to add a veteran at each level of the defense. And that's just from a defensive standpoint. I just think they're going to be able to play faster. And I also think that they're going to have more pass rush juice as well, too, because I think a sneaky pick was the Joseph Osai pick. I think Joseph Osai, I think he's going to be able to set a good edge, but I also think that he's going to be able to show a little bit more in the pass rush department. You know, I don't want anybody to think that he's going to be a dynamic edge rusher because I don't think that. I think he's going to be somewhere in between Brian Thomas and Calvin Pace. You're going to get 5 to 7 sacks. Maybe he'll run into 9, but you're going to get stout defense, and you're never going to have to worry about him, you know, being weak in the run game. And I think that they were able to, a lot of these positions, they've added better players. So instead of Michael Clemens getting a ton of snaps, that's going to be more Jawan Briggs or Harrison Phillips. Instead of Michael Walker or Eric Watts getting snaps, that's now going to be Kingsley Enagbari or Joseph Osai. And I think that that goes a long way. Instead of, you know, we had Ryan Clark's son out there. No disrespect. We had Jordan Clark and Dean Clark. Yeah, we had the Clark and Clark brothers out there running, trying to make tackles. There was one week that Michael Walker, he made a tackle, and I didn't even know who that was. You know, we had Marcelino McCrary Ball doing the magic harp. You know, like those guys aren't going to be playing anymore. So that's why I'm feeling about that. It's not even more so Aaron Glenn. I think that the talent that he's brought in is just going to make his job a little bit easier.
Yo, that's why we rock with you, man. Just with, you know, the knowledge and all that, man.
Yeah.
You know, I hope you're right about what you're saying, man. It's for me, it's the depth at linebacker, man. It's these corners playing together for the first time. Now we in Glenn's defense for the first time. You know, things gotta click right because we got some weapons, we got a little bit better, but for the most part, the teams that were playing, they got better as well. So, you know, I hope everything works out well, man. Appreciate everything you do. Jake, man, you already know, man, you my guy. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate y'all. Let's go, Jets.
Hey, here's the deal. Just got no chance unless you click on that like button. And you got to make sure you subscribe to the Jake Asman Show. You don't, you can get the f*** out. Now let's go, Asmaniacs. We're built for this shit.